The movie begins in the distant past with Tobias telling his daughter Nora the legend of how mountain trolls appeared on Earth. The story goes that trolls merged suddenly from the mountains over 1,000 years ago, living in peace with humans. That changed when a new world order spread across Europe. In Norway, the church tasked a saint named Olaf with fighting the trolls and wiping them out. Olaf led an entire army, dragging trolls from their caves to expose them to sunlight, which turns them to stone. Olaf noticed that trolls were paralyzed by the sound of church bells, so he used the bells to control them, committing thousands of massacres until the species was extinct. When Tobias finishes the story, young Nora feels that what happened to the trolls was unjust. She tells him that if she had been there, she would have done anything to help them. Her mother interrupts, saying it's time for bed. Tobias leaves, but he hears Nora ask her mom if she knows what mountain trolls sound like. Her mother says she doesn't know, but sings her an old lullaby to help her sleep. 30 years later, we shift to a remote location in the frozen wilderness. A man with his face obscured enters a small cabin. Suddenly, Nora attacks him and tackles him to the ground. She stops when he reveals he is Andreas. Andreas was her partner on her last mission 3 years ago, where she helped a mountain troll return to the mountains away from humans. Andreas notices Nora is still working on her father's research, evident from the books and papers scattered everywhere. He sees she has a book he wrote himself. Nora admits she didn't expect him to dedicate the book to her late father, Tobias. Andreas says it was the least he could do. He reveals he is back in his government job after a massive shakeup caused by the discovery of a secret troll graveyard hidden beneath the royal palace. Andreas tells her they need her for a top-secret project regarding mountain trolls. Nora is intrigued and agrees immediately. On the plane, he makes her sign a non-disclosure agreement to ensure total secrecy. She signs without hesitation. They arrive at a secret station deep in the mountains where Professor Muller and his colleague Vangel are waiting. Nora is surprised by the warm welcome, as they had argued over troll theories 3 years ago. Mueller explains that things are different now. He leads her inside, explaining that during World War II, nations raced to build the atomic bomb, searching the mountains for uranium. Instead of uranium, they found something else. They reach a secret containment bay, and Nora is stunned. She sees a massive mountain troll chained up. They have been taking samples and running experiments. Andreas explains they found this troll, named the megatrol, and hid it from the world. The facility is equipped with massive UV lights to freeze the troll if it loses control. Marion, the project manager, arrives. She welcomes Nora as a famous paleontologist but whispers to Andreas in Persian, so no one else understands, saying she doesn't want Nora there. Andreas reminds her the government will shut them down because they haven't produced results in 2 years. Marion tells Nora they are trying to wake the troll, which has been dormant for 100 years. Nora observes that the troll's body is a biological mix of trees, earth, and rocks. Andreas takes Nora to see Sigrid, the employee who helped her 3 years ago. Nora learns Sigrid and Andreas are now married, and Sigrid is pregnant. Next, they visit the archives containing ancient documents, including the Scroll of St. Olaf. Although the document is incomplete, Nora deciphers that it is actually a law passed by Olaf to banish trolls from their caves, confirming her father's stories were true. Andreas asks Nora to join the team officially. Nora gets nervous and asks to use the bathroom. Instead, she sneaks into the elevator and goes down to the megatrol. She touches its face and closes her eyes, attempting a psychic connection. The monitors show a spike in activity. The megatrol wakes up. Panic erupts. Mueller orders the UV lights turned on, but Marion stops him. She spills her coffee on the control panel, short-circuiting the system because she refuses to ruin 2 years of research. The megatrol breaks his chains. He smashes the elevator Nora is trying to escape in, knocking her down. Andreas rushes in and saves her. They grab Sigrid and flee as the megatrol destroys the facility, crushing Professor Vangel to death. Professor Mueller, hiding, spots a small rock that fell from the megatroll's body and secretly pockets it. The megatroll destroys the station and wanders into the ice. The survivors take a plane to a military base, where they are met by Major Chris. At headquarters, Nora argues that trolls are intelligent and shouldn't be treated like animals, while Marion insists they are dangerous monsters who killed Nora's own father. The Prime Minister interrupts, stating the creature is a threat to Norway and must be destroyed. Marion argues to recapture it for research, but Nora pleads to leave it alone, claiming trolls are peaceful. The Prime Minister refuses, revealing his own brother was killed by a troll years ago. He orders the troll's execution. Nora sits alone frustrated. Andreas joins her. She shows him a rock she kept from the troll 3 years ago, a symbol of her guilt for not doing more. Andreas pulls out a similar rock he kept. He tells her they must learn from their mistakes. Nora decides to go on a new adventure. They go to Chris, who is briefing his team on the attack plan. Nora begs to join, reminding Chris that her father saved his life once. Chris agrees, showing them new helicopters equipped with UV rays to turn the troll to stone instantly. Marion joins the team, and Chris seems smitten with her. Andreas calls Sigrid to say goodbye, promising to return for their child. Meanwhile, the megatrol reaches a ski resort. Inside a pub, young people are partying. The ground shakes. The megatrol rips the roof off. Instead of running, the clueless patrons film him with their phones. The troll devours them just as Chris and the team arrive. Nora is shocked by the violence, as the previous troll was peaceful.
Chris orders the attack. Pilot Amir hits the troll with UV lights, but it only causes minor surface damage. The enraged megatrol rips a light pole from the ground and hurls it like a javelin at Amir's chopper. The helicopter explodes, killing Amir. Chris wants to dive in for a suicide attack, but Nora talks him down, warning that the troll will destroy them. They hover, staring at the beast, who turns and walks away without attacking further. Back at HQ, the mission is declared a failure. Nora tells Marion this aggression isn't natural for trolls. To understand why, they need to communicate with it. She takes the team to visit the old man from the first movie, who is building a new house. Suddenly, the megatroll stomps through, destroying the house in seconds. Nora leads the team to the cave where the first troll emerged 3 years ago. Andreas finds slime on the walls and wooden poles with strange symbols. Nora realizes this place is a death trap. Humans kidnapped the Troll King's son and held him here to lure and kill the king. The megatrol is the king, and he is looking for his son.
Nora bangs her rock on the ground. A smaller troll emerges. It's the sun. Nora calms everyone down. She touches the troll's face, connecting with him. The troll smiles warmly. The team realizes he is peaceful. Nora names him Beauty. Even Marion is moved to tears, realizing she was wrong about them. Nora asks Beauty for a favor. They lure the megatrol out. Nora fires a gun in the air to get his attention. Beauty steps out to meet his father. Nora expects a happy reunion, but the megatrol screams in rage at his son. He smashes the ground, shattering the ice. Beauty falls into the freezing water. Nora watches in horror as Beauty struggles and drowns. Chris drags a devastated Nora to the helicopter as the megatrol attacks. They barely escape. On the flight back, Nora is heartbroken over Beauty's death. Marion notices on the map that the megatrol is heading north to Trondheim. Nora remembers the legend of Saint Olaf. She realizes the troll isn't just rampaging, he is going to the Nidaros Cathedral to destroy the grave of Saint Olaf, the man who massacred his kind.
They race to Trondheim Cathedral and meet a nun named Esther. They need to find Olaf's tomb to find a weakness. Esther takes them to a secret crypt. They find a mural of Saint Olaf. Andreas touches it, and a piece falls off. Esther notes the missing pieces match Olaf's fatal wounds: leg, stomach, and chest. Behind these spots are small holes. Nora places a wooden peg into one hole. They find 2 more pegs and complete the puzzle. A secret wall opens, revealing Saint Olaf's sarcophagus surrounded by a spring of water. Inside the coffin, they find Olaf's body, clutching a silver sword and the missing half of the scroll. Sigrid digitally combines the pieces. The full text reveals a shock. Olaf didn't want to kill trolls. He passed a law protecting them and giving them a homeland. The church monks killed Olaf to silence him, tore the scroll in half, and spread lies that Olaf was a troll slayer to cover their own crimes. The megatrol wants to destroy the church to avenge his clan against the lying monks.
News breaks that the megatrol is approaching. The world threatens to intervene if Norway fails. The Prime Minister orders a total evacuation and prepares for war. Nora refuses to give up. She realizes the water around Olaf's tomb is holy water. She tests a silver knife dipped in the water on her troll rock. It sizzles and dissolves. Holy water is the weapon. Chris and Marion rally the citizens. The townspeople help transport holy water from the cathedral to the soldiers, filling ammo and creating massive holy water barrel bombs. Andreas and Esther go to the bell tower to use the sound to distract the beast. The megatroll arrives. Andreas and Esther ring the bells. The troll screams in pain. The soldiers open fire with holy water bullets, burning his skin. The troll fights back, throwing a massive tree at the bell tower, destroying it. Andreas and Esther barely escape. The troll regenerates and attacks the army. Chris detonates the water bombs, but the effect is temporary. The troll stands back up.
All hope seems lost. Suddenly, Beauty emerges. He survived the water. He attacks his father to save Nora. The megatroll is too strong and beats Beauty down, preparing to kill him. The team comes up with a desperate plan: destroy the megatroll from the inside. Andreas and Chris take the helicopter with the last massive holy water bomb. Nora and Marion stay on the ground to distract the troll with gunfire. In the air, the wind knocks the bomb loose. Andreas catches it, but the detonator falls out. Andreas realizes he has to detonate it manually. He calls Sigrid, sobbing, and tells her he is going to die a hero for their family. Sigrid collapses in grief. On the ground, Nora runs out of ammo. The megatroll crushes Beauty and roars in victory. Chris flies the helicopter close. Andreas hugs the bomb and jumps straight into the megatroll's open mouth. The bomb explodes. The megatroll's insides are destroyed. Beauty stands up, reaches into his father's chest, and rips out his heart, crushing it. The megatroll crumbles into a pile of lifeless rocks. Nora cries, devastated by Andreas's death, but proud he saved the city.
Sometime later, Nora is at her cabin reading Andreas's book. Chris, Marion, and Sigrid visit with baby Nora, Andreas's daughter. They are happy. Suddenly, the ground shakes. Nora runs out to see Beauty walking by. He smiles at her and continues to the mountains, finally safe. However, in a secret location, Professor Muller is on the phone with a general. He says, "The sample is evolving. We just need a few years." We see Muller has grown a baby troll from the rock he stole, keeping it in a glass cage, setting the stage for the next disaster. The movie ends.